Guys, we probably need to make more than one line to get everybody in here. Come on in, so you can hear, guys. Good job. All right.
These guys came last year, but they brought back.
Around here?
Yeah.
Somewhere
Yes, they used it as a mallet.
All right, we're going to go into this room, and a good friend of mine is going to tell you all about this.
This dress right over here was actually made by a 14-year-old child. Do any of you have brothers or sisters around the age of 14? Can you imagine them actually making the clothes that they wear to school? From going out into the cotton fields and picking the cotton, to actually going through the making of the thread, dyeing, and sewing the whole dress for her to wear, to do things to help her mother around the house or to go out into the fields to do it. And then this right here is the uniform of a Confederate soldier. The Confederate soldiers, as you can see from both sides, the Confederates were not, there's a big difference between the clothing's, the two different uniforms. I believe the saying was, rich man's war, poor man's fight. That's because, they didn't really have a lot of money, as you can see, by just the way their clothes were made. The rifle, they were all issued rifles as well, but because they almost never found pistols on this side of the battle, they had bayonets, because they had to protect themselves in between the time that they would load their gun. Even the most experienced person with one of these rifles could only reload and shoot their gun 3 times a minute. And in a war, that's not really a lot when there are 800 people on the other side shooting at you. And as you can see by their shoes are a lot different than the boots that soldiers today wear. They weren't the most durable shoes, so when people would be marching through gravel and dirt, they would wear holes in the bottom of their shoes, causing sores to be worn on the bottom of their feet, on both sides of the battle actually. And what would happen is, because of these sores, they couldn't just stop walking because their feet hurt, because they had no shoe on the bottom. So what they would do is they would get disease. And did you guys know that disease was the leading cause of death in the war between the states, not a rifle or a man? So what would happen is, when the soldiers would find a man who was no longer living, whether it was because of disease or he had been shot, the man would actually take the man's boots, just so that he'd have boots to wear and he wouldn't get holes in his feet, so that he would have shoes to wear. Do you guys have any questions? Yes, sir.
Okay, I certainly do.
What is it for?
Okay, I certainly do.
It pushes the bullet and everything down so you can shoot it, right?
Okay,
Any more
I'll do
questions?
it. Thank
Yes,
you.
sir. This one right here by his belt buckle, that's for when he's just marching and he's not really in fighting. He would take the bayonet off of his gun and he would put it down in there, so that if he fell or something, he didn't stab himself or he didn't stab anybody else that he didn't want to. Yes, ma'am?
Is this a picture of women making clothes?
Yes, that's what they would look like. They would be in big groups making their clothes. It took usually more than one person to make a full dress. Okay. Any more questions? All right, then if you'll follow me.
Y'all probably do know something. How many of y'all know Old Man Tucker? Y'all know Old Man Tucker?
Yes.
Let's try that. Okay. Y'all sing that in class anytime?
Yes.
All
100 years old, but it's still just every bit as loud today as it was 100 years ago. It was made in Maryland and brought down here. And it will be rung every morning to let the kids know to come to school, and rung every afternoon to let the kids know it's time to go home. So I'm about to ring it in here. And when I do, I want you need to back up when I ring it. And don't put your hands on it. But when it stops, those of you that are closest to it, you put your hand on it and feel it vibrate. And then you'll need to step back and let Alex and some of those folks in the back row come up. And then I'm going to ring it again and let them have their hands on it. Okay? All right, so put your fingers in your ears. Fingers in your ears. I'm about to ring the bell if you get kind of loud. Okay.
I'm used to it.
Okay. All right, good deal. Okay, let's let the folks that were in the back come up front. We're going to ring it one more time. Alex? All right, one more time. We're going to ring the bell one more time, so fingers in your ears.
I don't need that. I'm used to it.
All right. Thank you. You want to...
So we're going to sing and play a song called Edelweiss from the song Music. And it's about an Edelweiss is a flower that grows in the mountains in Germany in the snow. And often, if men want to show their girlfriends or their fiancés that they really care for them, they really love them, they'll find that flower in the snow on the mountain and give it to them. Should they really try and really care. So I'm singing for you.
She did that just for the kitty cats. See that? Now look at this one right here. Have you ever been to church when they're doing Mission Sunday and you see a little tiny picture of an Indian? Does this look like the Indian sitting on the paper? She enlarged it to look like the Indian on the mission, from the mission. And she just changed her clothes in each block. And this quilt is done with crayon. She colored each one of the alphabet pictures and then she embroidered around it. And these colors will stay this same color 100 years from now. They will not wash out. It's a great thing about a quilt. If you're lucky enough to have it, you need to take really good care. If you have a grandparent that ever gives you a quilt, don't turn your nose up at it and say, oh, why am I getting this old quilt? You know, I used to think that was horrible, and now I wouldn't take anything in the world for them. Guys, do you know what this is? This is called a bear claw. You see it? It's called a bear claw. Kind of fun, huh?
Look at this lobster.
Now this over here will tell you what some of the animals are. Now those are